Hey, top of the morning to you. Welcome to Good News Rue. I'm Michael. Grandkids call me Rue. It is March 19th, and I'm going to be out early this morning. For an old guy, God sure has put a lot in my path here in the last few days, and I'm taking advantage of it, running pretty hard and fast. I want to show you two things that I'm doing this morning and how I'm wrapping up the book of John. We're going to meet next Tuesday, Lord willing, on the 23rd. I think that's right. Is that right? That can't be right. 20, whatever it is, the next Tuesday. And here's what we'll do. We will talk about Easter and spend a little time in the last book of John, or the last few chapters of John. But today I wanted to just call your attention to something. If you remember, some of you saw the little video I did from Rudoodles Live. Art is art. Words and food and painting and music and all the things that we can weave together in our life to create something, an expressive creation. And that's what God has done for us. He's created the world. He found a way to rescue his people from the devastation of what happened in Genesis, where man and woman disobeyed him and broke the covenant. And now he's in the New Testament, in these books, in the time, and time is just time to God, okay? That's why he could forgive us then and forgive us now, because he sees it all like this. We don't see time that way. We see it as infant to death and then gone from this world. So what I wanted to do is I wanted you to look at the book of John as the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Flip back through all your paintings, and I'm going to go to picture in picture and show you what I'm talking about. I started this last week. Just go through here and see what you need to clean up a little bit. Not clean up in a good way, but you may say, well, I want to add a little more color there. I want to make that splash a little more. I want some more notes on there that remind me, or legacy, remind my kids or grandkids of what I was thinking about. When I say the light has come, for me, that's just so powerful. The light has come. All you have to do is watch about 3 minutes of news, and I don't. Maybe I should. But if it's really important, it'll get to me. If it's really important, I'll need to know it. But just to keep up with it all day and commiserate in it and read the things that producers write, who not necessarily from a truthful or life-giving angle, just if you don't do this, this will happen. If this does happen to this, and what about this person who said this? And you go, come on. And yes, television is art, and sometimes it gets overboard in how it seeks to scare people and frighten people. I'm telling you, fear God and know where your heart is, and watch what happens to your life in joy. And that's really what this book is about. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory. And so I want you to know that there's more than just drawing these small little sketches that I do in here. You'll see very often that I do draw light and dark, and I really differentiate between that. And I think that's kind of powerful. And I'm always talking about God glorifying who he is. I think there's something magical, mysteriously mystical about what God does. It's in a dimension that I don't understand, but I trust it. So I go back through these, and I'm not going to do anything to this one, I don't think at all, except that his light, I might draw a little. Every time I sort of use the word light in Scripture, I tend to want to put a little bit of yellow in there just to say this is what's happening. And I just let it just fall on the other page. It's fine. I might lay a paper towel on it and dampen it a little bit and then just let it go. And even in the midst of him weeping for, John 11. See, I know what this is. He comes to the tomb and Lazarus is there. Even in the midst of this, where he wept, he still has that light with him. It doesn't leave him because he is the light. So I want you to find some things in here. I don't want you to finish John like it's a school term paper or an essay. And you go, okay, what's next? I want you to do what I challenged people to do the last 2 weeks for that scroll that I was working on. Not try and create the word, no. But I want you to put it from here in your heart, through your head, out your arm, and move it into a place where you retain some of it and hold on to it. Why? Because that's what we have to hold on to. We have Him, but He is the Word, and so the Word is Him. So when we're holding God's Word, we're really holding God. And the point is that when you're walking with Him, when you believe Him and you have Him in your heart, it's going to change everything about how you live. And so this morning, what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd just go to John 15 and show you. This is one of my favorite verses. They're from my favorite chapters inside the book of John. And it's I am the true vine. And if you remember, I drew this little rough vineyard drawing that I do. It looks like it's a brand new one. And if you see something here, there's a saw here. There's some limbs and branches laying around. And it says, if there's no fruit, you're cut off. But if there is fruit, you're still pruned. You're like, wow, it's painful either way. Yeah, but one of them gets gathered up and thrown into the fire. The other one bears more fruit. And so be willing to be trimmed and pruned and go through that and allow Him to say, you don't need to do that anymore. Don't worry about that. Walk with me. And so this is, I am the true vine and my Father is the vine dresser. And every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes. That's what I was just talking about. And I wrote it here. And why is He pruning? That it may bear more fruit. You know that when you're gardening and you get ready to start your garden this year, you know that when you cut the little suckers off the tomatoes, you just peel those off. You know that they'll grow stronger there and they'll branch out and they'll bear more tomatoes. My dad taught me that. I didn't learn it as well as I should have because the last tomatoes that I planted, I spent a lot of money putting the little bed together and these Cherokee purple heirloom tomatoes that I wanted to grow, and I spent all this anyway. I spent about $75 and the deer ate the one that grew. And so this year I just said, I'm just going to go to a farmer who really understands them and knows them and bring those home. Because when I have a tomato and mayonnaise sandwich this summer, that's what I want. So my point is that I have to stay connected. And I need to learn more about it and learn more about it. So don't see this whole thing, once again, as a science project. You go, finish that. Okay. Every now and then, pull out the ones that you've done and look back through them and see how you can clean them up and what you can draw that makes it more understandable to you. Look, you're not trying to do everything in here, just one thing or a couple of little vignettes. Sometimes I'll do cartoon type vignettes. You know what I mean by that? Little boxes that sort of tell the story. I think I did a couple of those over here somewhere. Maybe I didn't do as many as I thought, but I think I did. I think I put a couple of little. There's a little idea right here where he walks on the water, and immediately in this he says, don't fear this. I am the bread of life. Can you see us feed those people over there? And so I tied these two together. There it is right there. And this is where he starts the I am, 6 through 10. Pretty amazing. Okay, so what I wanted to do is John 15 is what I picked up on today. And then I went to the back where I'm finished with the rest of my sketches. And so here's one I just added a little bit of a sunrise to. And this is where, of course, Peter, look, without telling you this story, I know this story. This is without even looking. I would look at this picture and know now, if I were telling stories to my grandkids, what does it remind you of? John 21. Without even looking. But I know I'm right. Okay? And Peter, at the end of, and we're going to talk about this again next week just briefly, but they were trying to figure out what happened. Did they actually laid him in the tomb? And now what is going on? And Peter says, I'm going fishing. And then he appears to them on the shore. And once again, their eyes are opened and they recognize him, or Peter does. He puts on his outer clothing. He jumps into the water. He swims ashore, and Jesus is there to meet him. And this is right after Peter has denied Christ. And this is what happens when we have failures in our life and when we come back to the Father. He says, I welcome you back. Read Luke, the prodigal son. It's a story about the son who takes everything and runs off. Yes. Is it about the son who stays home and is spiteful and sad? And yes. But who's it really about too? It's about the Father who looks and waits every day for his children to come home to him. So I added a little bit of color in that today. And then I went over here and I had John 15 on my mind, and I just drew a little branch again of some grapes. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to sew up this thing of I need to stay connected always, every day, every day, every day. When I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking, oh, I wish I could sleep a little later, I really want to say, okay, God, you woke me up. Thank you. I'm awake. Wow, I'm still here. I have a purpose to do here. You haven't taken me home yet. I'm here. So, what am I going to do today that benefits you, that makes people smile, that offers kindness and gentleness and wait a minute, and love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and gentleness and gratefulness and self-control. Wait a minute. That's Galatians. And that's why I wanted Galatians to follow John, because what are we going to do to put those things in? So next week we're going to talk about Easter, and then we're going to talk about having a week, maybe just off, where you read through Galatians. Just read the whole book of Galatians, and it's only 5 chapters. So read the whole book, and then read it again, and then read it again, and then so you're familiar with it, and maybe, just maybe, ask God to put some art in your heart that would enlighten that book for you to understand it more as we go through it. Now, you're going to have to get used to drawing a couple people, because you're going to have to draw Paul in there somewhere. And so then last week, if you were visiting with me, I wrote this little poem in the back, and I'm not asking you to do that, but I've got one more page, and I'll write something on this page as a truth that I'm carrying over from John, so I can do a quick review. But I need to stay connected. And this reminds me of back on chapter 15. I don't know the page number, but here's what I'll do. I'll go back to it, chapter 15, page 90. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a little thing of 90 right here in the corner. And that's the page number that I could always go back to and just go, wow, it's there, it's here. But this is something that's really powerful to me in this, that I want this to move forward. What is it that you want to take and move forward? Is it the powerfulness of the cross? Yes. Without the resurrection, none of John would be possible anyway. And I promise you, he would have written a story, but he wouldn't have written a story with a good ending. But he wasn't in charge of the ending. God was. And God knows how this all ends. And it's not over for me. It's not over for you. So my art has gotten better. Once more time, I want to repeat this to you. This is just my little poem. My art has gotten better as I've painted through the book of John. My heart has gotten stronger as the truths I've poured upon. My part in life is clear at the love the Father has shown. May this art connect to others, so life through Jesus is known. And so that's my prayer for this book. That's my prayer for you. And that's why I started Good News Rue. It's not my good news. It's the good news of the gospel. The gospel is called the good news, not the bad news on all that comes to us in this life. Is there going to be bad things that happen? Yes. Is it supposed to be that I'm happy all the time? No, don't worry about happiness anyway. Worry about the joy that comes. Love, joy, peace, patience. Oh yeah, those are in Galatians. So now you see where I want to go with this. So as the old farmer would say, I'm milking this cow a little long for you. But I want you to go back and review. And if there's something you haven't drawn, I didn't like this drawing when I looked at it, and so I went back and I redid it. And this is Jesus washing Peter's feet, where Peter says, "No, no, no, wash me all, wash everything." See, he goes, "No, it's just your feet. Look, your heart is good. Stay close to me, but let's just keep moving closer. I'll wash this, and if I don't wash your feet, Peter, then you can't be one of my brothers." He goes, "Then wash me all." No, just your feet. That's fine. I love the concept that Jesus touches feet. I love the fact that beautiful are the feet that bring good news. And I'm not trying to heap that on me. You're going to bring good news to those you meet, because you're going to have God's word in your heart through art and whatever. There's my sheep. I'm not a very good sheep drawer. Is it drawer? It sounds like a third grade word, but I like it. Whatever you're going to do it quickly, he says to Judas. And here's some plans. I'm going to make a place for you. I love this. An architectural blueprint. All right, so you see what I want you to do, and I've just finished with a little drawing on the back page here, and then I've got one more to go, and I don't know what that's going to be, but I'll probably do it later this week, or maybe even next week. Traveling with my family next week. I got to show you one thing that I love here. Here it is right here. If this thing is rocking and rolling, about 15, 16 minutes into it. I did this once before, and I want to show you again that you might could use this in some of your sketches here. I'm going to use it right here. This is a broken brush. Here, look. Here's brush right here. This is just a brush that the end of it finally gave up after so many years, and I just took my pocket knife here and just chopped it off. Just cut it. Boop. I should have cut it a little longer, but I didn't. It would have been nice if I'd have cut it at the ferrule, but I wasn't thinking. And I may have slammed a door or something on it. I don't know. Anyway, it's a broken brush handle. And I put this into the pencil sharpener, and I just sharpened it up really well. And I'll do that from time to time. I think I've only sharpened this one maybe once or twice so far. And it becomes, if you remember on the show the other day, I was painting with a little stick. This is a great concept for making these little, watch this, I'm going to wet the stick and I'm just going to roll it across, just roll it across a little brown ink, and look what happens here with this little squiggly and these little light pieces of vines that come down. And I can also do the same thing with the green. Just pick a little bit of green here, and I can come in here and just draw a little bit. Instead of painting those, and I don't have to go get a green pen. I'm just taking a little watercolor on the end of this sharp pencil, and I'm just doing some squigglies. Okay, and so I'm just wetting it enough to barely rake it across. Here's all I'm doing here. I want to show you this, just a little trick that I've learned with this. Just kind of rolling it across like this, just letting a little bit of paint get on it, not too much. I'm not trying to carry over a whole lot. That's the whole point. I don't have to be light here. I can just grab it, and I can come in and just do these little squigglies here. And so it's a good tool. So little sharp stick, it works every now and then. So find something in this last page that you carry over as one truth, that if somebody says, you ever read the book of John? You can say, oh, I can tell you this. There's some key things in there. Light, I am statements, the vine being connected, Lazarus being raised. You can find the high spots. Find one that just, this week, just sitting, as my old friend used to say, marinate on it a little bit and let one of those come to your heart and put it on this page. And that'll be the page that you come to and say, of all the things I could have chosen, I chose this one today because I want to stay connected. Connected to who? Connected to the Father. Connected to my wife, my children, my family, more so than I did when I was a younger man. I thought work was so important, and I wasted some time. I didn't make a whole lot of money in my work, but I was very loyal to it. In fact, sometimes so loyal that I miss birthdays and I miss other things. And so for this time that I have on this planet, I want to change that out a little bit. I constantly talk to men in my life about pace, and then sometimes I don't do it. I'm missing next week because I'm going to hang out with my family. Something's come up that I can go spend a time with 4 grandkids and 2 folks, the 2 parents who are one's my daughter, and just go and sit for a bit and serve them. And I want to go do that. So finish up John, and then we're going to talk about Easter next week. And then on the first, we'll probably, I want you that whole first week of April to just read Galatians several times. If you don't have it, now would be the day to order it. And it's Galatians, and it's this one right here, Scripture Journal from Crossway. Get the one that's the one that has a full page. If you get the illuminated one, it's a harder cover and it's red. It's going to have some written things here, and they might get in your way. And also, someone else has written a verse here they think is important. I want you to write the verse part now and paint what you think is important, okay? That's letting it move your heart. All right. I'm done here this morning. Enjoy the morning. I'm off and running on a car repair thing. Got to do that too. And be blessed. And won't see you here next week. If I do, I'll just drop in and say a little word on YouTube and to greet you. Other than that, blessings to you. And I'm going to go have a cup of tea. I like it. And by the way, date this. I wrote 2024 on here as we finished. So date it and go from there. All right. Blessings to you. See you.